So you've done something quite quirky. You've built up a 1.5 million. How does that work?
You don't need to buy property with your own money.
And has Article 4 come into Birmingham as well now?
So we know the areas where we can buy.
Do you know what sort of money that adds on to a property?
People just keep coming to us. We've got money, we've got money, we've got money.
Sidhu Moosewala. He's got so much following from the music industry. His mum's 58 and they've just had another baby boy. It was all about IVF.
I just passed out in the Asda. It would have killed me.
Has there ever been a time in your life that anyone's put you down?
I was chased with a brush up the street. I was hit with a rounder's ball in my face.
So tell me, what's next?
He asked us for money. He only asked for 2 croissants today, a cup of tea and a piece of cake. The security guard was trying to throw him out and I was like...
Welcome back to Take a Seat. This is the #1 channel for mindset, money, motivation. I get guests on from all walks of life. Currently, we've got a UFC fighter who's come on going viral on our Instagram page. But today, I want to share a phenomenal guest. They're actually a couple, a property couple, but they do very different things. You see, one of the guests is in construction. And he's had that in his bloodline for the last 3 generations. So I want to know all about that from the other side. And the other half is an interior designer. But not only that, she's a born entrepreneur. She's been doing so many businesses and I want to know what makes her tick. So please welcome the property couple, Martin and Sarah.
How's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much for coming down all the way from Birmingham.
Yep.
What's happening in Birmingham?
Raining mainly.
It's weird because Birmingham is supposed to be the second city after London, right?
Yeah.
But it looks like Manchester has taken over.
No, don't say
No,
that.
Birmingham's number 2 still. Definitely still,
Yeah?
still number 2.
We'll let Manchester have number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So I wanted to actually sort of start with something off topic, actually. In the news right now, there's a artist called Sidhu Moosewala.
Yeah.
He wears a big turban. Well, he did wear a big turban. And he's a guy with guns and stuff, but it's just an image. He was like, I used to get paid for this. He's there in his G-Wagon. But unfortunately, he had some people after him because the music industry, when they go into politics, he's got so much following from the music industry that he could overturn sort of some of these other politicians. And it felt like he had to get managed out. And unfortunately, this guy, Drake knows about this guy. All the top artists are singing about him. He's got millions and millions and millions of views. But unfortunately, he got shot up.
Yeah.
So they shot him up 2 years ago. And it was a real tragedy for his parents, his mum and dad, because it was their only son and only child. And especially with Asian families, it's more about they always want a boy because it's the bloodline and they believe in that sort of old school mentality. So something really weird that came out is his mum's 58.
Yeah.
And she's just got pregnant, that it all came out in February and they've just had another baby boy.
Wow.
And so they're saying his little brother's here and they're like late 50s, 58, 60. And I was like, how the F did that happen? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, how does that happen? Like, you're too old. Like, how did you even give birth? Or like, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just thinking out loud. And then it was just this thing. Like, I was like, did he impregnate another woman? Did they give it to somebody else? But yeah, they've literally had a baby and then it was all about IVF.
Yeah.
And that's a topic that I know that you guys know quite a bit about. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about this topic before we even get into the property side. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Amazing. So tell us your story.
So it came about us having IVF because this one day I was really ill and was walking around Asda getting bits and bobs. And then I just felt really ill. I just passed out in the Asda and they had to come and get an ambulance for me. So when I had some tests and that done, it turned out I had polycystic ovary syndrome.
Okay.
So it's basically cysts on my ovary.
Right.
And one was like getting really big, close to like bursting, wasn't it?
Wow.
And if it had burst, it would have killed me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So because I had this cyst on my ovary and I'd passed out, they rushed me straight into theatre, and I had to have my left ovary removed.
Okay.
So that only leaves me then with one ovary.
But they put the thought in your head, didn't they, that like after that you won't be able to have children?
Yeah, so obviously I'd only got this one ovary now, and then they were saying like that this might, lessen your chance of having a baby. And for me at the time, I was a nursery nurse, so that it broke my heart a little bit because
Can imagine.
you constantly work around children.
Yeah. How old was you when this occurred?
I was 21.
Wow, so that's quite young.
Yeah.
And people dream of that, having kids and
Yeah.
children and stuff like that. Wow. Before we go a little bit deeper, is there something that anybody can do to, especially women, to check their ovaries? Is there anything, or is that this is just like an anomaly that just happens out of the blue?
Well, to be honest, I don't think there's anything you can do. I didn't realise I'd got it until obviously I fell really ill. But there is scans and stuff you can have if you're having problems with your ovaries,
Right.
or like your periods irregular or anything like that.
So what are the main signs? Like what does irregular periods mean, and what sort of signs will people be looking at?
So obviously time of the month and all that stuff, and if it's late mainly. Obviously some people think they might be pregnant, but if you're not in a relationship, then obviously it might be something deeper.
Right.
So then just keep an eye on that, and then if your stomach feels not its normal self, then obviously just get checkups. All it is an ultrasound.
Okay.
So-
That's good to know. So then what happened after that? You were told that you couldn't have children?
Yeah.
Well, we could, and we were trying for a baby, but then obviously we found out that there's something wrong with Martin then.
But our mindsets was different then, because my mindset is totally different to before I had children.
Okay.
And I was very selfish with wanting to do my own things. I wanted to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
My main focus was work. We used to go out on the odd weekend, didn't we? And I was thinking, I don't want kids. I'm too young for kids. It wasn't my interest. And it was Sarah's interest.
Right.
So obviously we was massively divided at that point in time. Not in a point where we wasn't getting on,
Yeah.
because we've always got on fantastic. But when our mindsets were so far apart on one thing, I was like, how is this going to run side by side? So then obviously we went for IVF checks, didn't we? And
Yeah.
they checked you. Your fertility was too high.
Yeah, but
And I was
because
too
I'd
low.
only got one ovary,
Yeah.
it was overproducing
Okay.
to make up for the other one.
Oh, wow.
So it was producing more eggs than it should.
The body's an amazing thing, isn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
But they says that basically I was lazy, basically. So yeah.
and what causes that?
Well, they went down different routes, because obviously when I first started my weight training,
Yeah.
obviously I went down the anabolic steroid route.
Okay.
So obviously when I put my mind into something, I put it 1,000% into it.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I was training. As you know from your background of training and things like that, you hit a brick wall.
Yes.
And when I hit the brick wall, I was very young, people can influence your mindset easily.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, you need to do the next step. And the next step is steroids.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I don't really want to do that, because
Yeah.
everybody says that they're not fantastic. It's
Yeah.
not good for you, blah, blah, blah. And I jumped on it, only for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And then realised, no, this isn't for me.
Did you see results from it?
I did see results.
Okay. And what's
Which
a
is
short period?
Short period, I did nearly 6-7 months.
Okay.
Because they do say that it takes, obviously I'm not condoning this. It's
Yeah.
not something that I say should be done.
Yeah.
But it was over, I think it's after 6 to 10 weeks, you start to feel and see results.
Okay.
But it's basically your body just lying to you. It's just, making you believe that you can train longer. It gives you that. But it just completely messed me up. Because then obviously when I wanted to start for children, it completely messed up my ability to have children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we mainly had to go down the IVF route, which devastated me because you had to have daily injections, didn't you? Upregulation and downregulation injections. And I had to personally inject Sarah with them, and she would be crying. And for me, that was to think that what I started probably 2 years prior, 2 years further down the line, I was putting Sarah through agony. And you just don't realise. But yeah, it was horrible.
How did that affect your mindset, like your mental health? Because like obviously you love Sarah,
Massively, yeah.
you thinking about starting a family, and then to be honest, like you could be hating or blaming yourself like for the
Yeah.
actions that you've done, and maybe you were young,
Yeah.
naive, easily led. But how do you get through that, or how did you get through that?
It was a daily battle for myself because, like I say, I was seeing Sarah going through these struggles, mental struggles as well as physical struggles. Because, like, you was depressed, wasn't you? Yeah, it was massively depressing for Sarah because she wanted something so bad, and then I couldn't give it her as a partner. You know, future husband, I couldn't give it to her.
Yeah.
And then we had to obviously go down the help route, which then as a man as well, you think, right, I need to have help to give somebody a baby. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
And like you feel inadequate in yourself as well.
Does it make you feel like less of a man?
Yeah, it did. Because you're thinking that's the one thing that you should be able to provide,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as well as going out and providing, you know, stability and an income for your family. You think that you can at least provide a family. And I couldn't do that because of stupidity.
You guys have been together, what, 18 years now?
18 years.
18 years. What defines sort of a good relationship? Because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions. Like, you guys have been through a lot, and a lot of people might not have even seen the end of it, like, and just walked away. You know, I don't need to deal with this, etc. You're clearly different people as well in your own right. You know, you especially at the start, you more into your bodybuilding. You want to start a family. You know, what is your advice for people, you know, looking for a partner nowadays? Because there's so much, you know, I don't know, is that the word promiscuity? Like, it's just like so much, you know, people are so short term, like tissue paper now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that analogy.
Unfortunately, like sometimes you even see, you know, maybe both sides, like some women with just so many different kids from different fathers, and they think that's okay and normal. And then you also see men having kids with so many different girls, like it's a trophy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or my baby mum, for example. So, you know, something's terribly going wrong here. Something's going the wrong way. Where it's like I grew up in a family that got mum and dad.
Yeah.
And I saw arguments. I see things flying around the house sometimes.
Yeah.
But I see how much love they had, and they brought us children up good as well.
Yeah.
But people are walking away so easily now. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's because obviously it's all this like Instagram, and it's like a bit of a fluff of a world, really. Like not normal.
Grass is greener.
Yeah, people think the grass is greener on the other side, where if you just work on your problems together, that's it.
I think
Like whatever problem you go through it together. You make the decisions together. You compromise. And you just love each other conditionally through any problem you face.
What about like what are the right attributes you should be looking for in a partner? Because we can do that as well. But if that person has got a totally different mindset to you, it's whatever you're going to be doing, you're going to be fighting. Because how many times have you seen parents go, leave him or leave her, she's not right for you, and you're just deeply madly in love with that person, so it's almost like too late, and you're only going to leave when you have literally been fucked over, really, and it's like, oh, there's nothing else I can do now.
I think for me, I think that you need to walk different paths side by side, which sounds the opposite, but you know, you've got your own journey in life. So you should be walking different paths together, but grow together and be happy to see each other grow. So obviously, like I'm always, like we're talking at an event on the 27th, and we've obviously stood on stage a few times now. We've done our own networking events where we've stood on stage, and we're going to mix it up this time because we took a little bit of advice off Sanj from Savoy's.
Oh yeah.
And guy's a legend.
Yes.
Took her to one side and says, listen, the next event you speak at, allow Sarah to go up first and introduce you.
Yeah.
So this will go into the imposter syndrome a little bit later, but
Okay.
Sarah's going to go up on stage first, do what she needs to do, talk about her growth, herself. But that's me wanting Sarah to be the best version of herself. And then she wants the same for me.
And how do you allow that as a man? Like in terms of like men like to take the limelight. They want to be large and in charge, you know, and that's my woman. And, you know, for you to allow your woman to go up and take all the whole limelight, you can clearly see Sarah supports you and,
Yeah.
and you're a good couple. You know, a lot of men wouldn't like that because they want to be in front. They
Yeah.
want to say, I'm providing for you. I'm doing this for you. What would you say, like, because that's quite confident as a man, actually, to do
Yeah.
what you're doing. Because you're going, I'm letting you have the biggest limelight and I still trust you that you still think I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've got no fear of opinions. I've got no fear of opinions. I've got no fear of what people may say I may be doing right or wrong. I always live by that I do right by everybody. And if I've done wrong by somebody, I will correct that wrong. So I just feel like that you have to go through life that way. It's always the best way to live, isn't it?
So you guys are doing some networking events, etc. as well. How do you find going up on stage and with the mic in your hand and you know, presenting and stuff? Like, do you get scared, nervous, public fear or public, you know, speaking, or is it something that comes natural, something you've got better at? Because some people are terrified, like including me, of public speaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where like I get a bit of imposter syndrome.
What does that mean?
So it's basically yourself telling yourself that you're not good enough. Like it's like a little niggling thing in your head just saying, can you really do this? And then my other part of me is going, yeah, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like it's like a battle between yourself, really. And I get that a lot. And people say, oh, you seem so confident on the camera and you seem so confident when you're speaking in groups and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but when people are actually standing there looking at me and I'm the host of my own networking event, I absolutely shit myself. I'm literally shaking from inside out. And it's like the choices from our Warsaw project that we've done. The choices of like colours on the wall. I was scared to put that colour on the wall
Wow.
because my imposter syndrome was saying, you shouldn't be putting that colour on the wall. You like it, but what if everybody else don't like it? And then like sometimes I care too much about what other people think rather than me just believing in myself and just think, do you know what? Just do it. Just do it. So
Has there ever been a time in your life that anyone's put you down? Whether that's
loads. When I was going through primary school, I was in a group of 3.
yeah.
So there was 3 of us, so there was always one left out, and the one left out was always me. And then through high school, I was bullied so bad. I was chased with a brush up the street. I was hit with a rounder's ball in my face. Yeah, I was bullied a lot at school. So that hits your confidence as you grow. But now I'm starting to, Martin pushes me to say, like, it doesn't matter what they think anymore. Look what, I just think to myself, look where you are. You've got 5 kids.
Yeah.
You've got no career. And you're still where you were. But you were picking on me. But there, like, looking back, I think it was just jealousy. Because they wasn't me.
Yeah.
But I was always the quiet one in the bigger gang, and I didn't follow the rest of the crowd when they were doing something. I was just me, and they was like, oh, why are you not doing it? Because I don't want to. Because
You're not a sheep.
Yeah, I'm not a sheep. You know what I mean? I'm my own person, and I used to like go between groups and I'd still do that now.
Yeah.
I go between groups because I always don't know where I fit. So that's why me and Martin are each other's best friends, because I
Amazing.
fit with Martin.
Amazing. You can find that in each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you don't really even need to look out your four walls, really.
Yeah.
Everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sarah, you've had to go through that, but
That's
I had to
okay.
ask that question because I believe that when you lose confidence or you doubt yourself, it comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's normally your first belief.
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing actually happened to me in school. You know, I used to get bullied all the
Yeah.
time or beaten up. Nickname was Fat Boy, which is probably why I went to the gym so much
Yeah.
to try get rid of that, you know, fat boy. And until I got on stage competing, I was like, okay, now 6 people have said he looks good. 600 people have said, not 6 people, 600 people have said he looks good. And I've got
Yeah.
all the cameras and pictures. And when you post it up on Facebook, you're like, you know, you get all these likes and people go, and the bullies will come, how did you do that? And some of them I literally went, because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And do you know what? Here's the funny thing, Sarah, what I've learned is a lot of these bullies and people who have been bad in the past, they don't even remember what they've said and done. So coming out of this situation, you know, of this whole thing being an illusion, sometimes we make that situation to be worse than it was because it was happening to us.
Yeah.
And second of all, it was probably happening to them from somebody else as well. And being the fact that they don't remember, what I've found is I need to sort of cut this off and let it go. And probably now they're looking up to people like us and going, wow, I wish I could do that. Or damn, if they do remember, I wish I wasn't so horrible, because kids are just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not grown up with thoughts, feelings, maturity. And if you are a nasty human being, then you shouldn't be in your circle because you've outgrown that person already.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you, actually, to go on stage and be doing what you're doing. And I think the best thing sometimes you can do is cut that part of your life off and said, that was a version of me then, we've moved on, and just look at some of your videos or your networking events and go, that's me now. And I need to build on that person. And so here's the thing, like I've learned is stop being selfish as well. Stop thinking about you.
Yeah.
Think about who you're going to be helping now.
That's the thing with the networking events. Like, I really didn't want to do them because we've just fell on doing networking events because everybody keeps wanting to go out for coffees and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's just too much sometimes. And we're just like, we're going to be doing this event. You want to see us? Let's come together. Let us help you connect with other people that might inspire you, or they might, you know, be the connection that you need. They might be your JV partner, and we did that, you know, purely just based on that. But then, like, I really didn't want to do them networking events, and I just thought, I ain't doing it. But then I get text messages after and things saying, oh, thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you. And
When's your
that's
next
what
one?
you said. Like,
Amazing.
that's what you said. Like, you know, you're not doing it for yourself anymore.
Yes.
You're doing it for other people.
Yes. And that's a different angle
Yeah.
now. Now you have to get out there and help them, you
Yeah.
know. It's amazing. How many people normally do you fill up in a room, like with?
Well, we did a free event first, and 100 tickets went, and then 70 something people turned up.
It's about 78 people
Yeah.
turned up.
And then we says, okay, let's do a second one, because everybody's like, oh, I missed out, because it looks so fantastic.
Yeah.
And we was like, okay, we'll do another one. And then we sold out 184 tickets in 4 days,
Wow.
which was phenomenal. But the setup was amazing. The speakers was amazing.
Yeah.
The setting was amazing. It was Instagrammable. We was in a perfect position at the time where everybody was like, let's do this, let's connect, second city vibe, you know, everybody, let's leave London, come to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And it was just a phenomenal night.
And how do you promote something like that?
Social media mainly, wasn't it? But
social media. We put the tickets on Eventbrite, but
Yeah.
obviously we just did our own videos, with promo videos of the event.
On Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
But
mainly
Does
through
LinkedIn
Instagram.
work, or just
Not
Instagram,
really.
TikTok,
I'm on
Facebook?
LinkedIn, but I haven't really done anything
Okay.
with it.
But we have got a WhatsApp chat as well, because we
Yeah.
did a year's worth of networking, and like
Right.
we was just back to back network, and we put everybody on a WhatsApp chat, and we got 1,000 people on a EPG WhatsApp group.
That's
Wow.
our little EPG.
It's our community.
EPG family, so shout out to you guys.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wicked.
I get them up at 5 o'clock every morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's a perfect time to say, why are all these people following you? Why are they part of your community? So, what are you guys about now? What is the EPG community? What is your business model? How do you go about your business? How do you make your money? How do you help people? What's it about?
So we do a lot of raising finance to buy projects. Obviously, we work with people because we think collaboration's key. So obviously, people have got the funds, they come to us. Sometimes they want to learn about properties. Sometimes they're retired, they just want to, invest. They just want to see a good return on their investment. It's a know, like, and trust basis, isn't it? So obviously, they've known us for a while. They get to know us. We utilise their money to buy the properties that we want to buy. And basically convert them into, like, our Warsaw project is a luxury flip. We've got a Lake District project at the minute, which is a commercial resi. It's 2 properties. We've converted it into 5.
Wow.
And
Is that
then
like a block or land that
yeah,
you
it's
build
like a corner plot of
It's
property.
a bit of everything, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Shop, post
shop,
office.
a post office, an upstairs flat, a downstairs flat, a cottage, and a double garage and land.
Yeah,
Wow.
So that's a whole corner plot that we brought.
yeah. So some was C3, some was F2, some was classification E. It was just a mess.
Wow.
And we've basically been converting it bit by bit by bit and getting it all back to residential, which we're getting there now.
Wow. So how do you take a risk on like that? Like, in terms of, did you have to do a pre-app to know what you were going to be able to do on that place, or do you need to make the numbers work at the start for what it is?
Well, the beginning problem was, obviously, we went running into a deal that we was like, yeah, we can do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
Fantastic, let's go. So we didn't look massively into the fine detail of it, but we knew something could be done with it. And then what we've done is, as we've gone down the process, we've learned bit by bit that, like, because we've had planning permission denied on an overdevelopment spec. So we wanted to put a big 3-bedroom property. We wanted to put like a drive-through with a coach house, and the villagers, because it's in a rural village, they were like, nope,
Yeah,
no.
so that's been a big part of it, like the villagers and
Yeah, 3
we've
times
been
in the
2.5
paper.
hours away, but we've still managed it
Wow. So
with builders up there.
is that your builders, or do you subcontract? Or
I sourced all them builders through Facebook.
wow. Okay.
Met them on site, ran through everything with them,
So individual boys or teams?
Yeah.
All
or-
individual teams.
Okay.
and we managed them from 2.5 hours away.
Wow, how'd you find that? Because I met a developer the other day, Victoria. I don't know if you know her. She's from Surrey. She's building 6 houses at the moment. I'll get you linked up with her. But
definitely.
we went to Mippin, yeah, and she was like building all these houses, and she was like, "I've got to be up in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "I'm going to be there because builders have a tea break, times 3, a lunch break, and then they do a bit of work as well."
And fag breaks.
So you come actually from a building background, right? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so 3rd generation. So my granddad was an Irish immigrant. So he came over when he was 15. Went to, so I don't know if you know Birmingham very well. So the Rotunda, the old original Birmingham Children's Hospital,
Right.
The M5, Spaghetti Junction. My
Yes.
granddad was a steel fixer on all of them.
Oh, wow.
Because the infrastructure of Birmingham was built by the Irish because they came over to do all the steel fixing and concrete groundworks. And he was a big part of that. So then obviously my dad got into it when he was around about 20. And then he learnt the building trade, but then took it more into structural, like extensions and roofing and the Birmingham renovation grants. And then I came into it and saw a niche in loft conversions and
Right.
extension specialism.
Okay.
So obviously we went down that route and that just took off massively.
Wow.
You was running your own gang at 15 years
I
old.
was running a gang of lads at 15, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Building what? Doing what?
So obviously I left school early, so I think you said you was working at like 13, 14.
Yeah,
I was
dad job.
exactly the same, yeah. So I started early because it was my dad's own business.
Brilliant.
My dad was stacked out with work, so he left me on the one project running roofing contracts. I was 15 running gangs of like lads in their 20s.
Wow.
And the one threatened to throw me off scaffold. He was like, I'm not listening to a 15-year-old. I was like, okay, I'll just ring my dad and say that you've said that. And he's like, no, I'll carry on. But yeah, it was
Wow.
Difficult, but obviously I was my dad's eyes and ears. So I learned quick like you did.
Wow.
Exactly the same.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
What you can learn through your family and generational wealth in terms of knowledge.
Yeah.
And how. I don't want to bring down the schooling system either, you
Yeah.
know, but there is limited amount because they're obviously catering for everybody.
Yeah.
They can't just look at you personally and stuff.
Yeah.
And also sometimes some of your toughest or baddest days, there's always a teacher up there that you can speak to, right?
Yeah.
So you got to give it to them that stage. But, you know, do you think entrepreneurs are born or made?
I think they're made.
Made.
Yeah.
I'd say made as well.
I'd say made just because obviously all my family, they've all been in 9-to-5 jobs. So where does my entrepreneurs come from?
Yeah, not one of
So
Sarah's
not
family
one
running
of my
around
family
business.
have ever run their own business,
Okay.
ever. And I'm the first one in the family to do that.
What was your first business?
Oh, and so hair and beauty was my first business.
You did that from home, or did you go to a salon or hire a shop?
So
or what?
I did from home in our little bedroom because that was when I'd first had the twins. So when Martin came home from work, I used to go out then, and there was literally weeks old. I'd used to go out and do all the nails, spray tanning. I'd go to people's houses if they didn't want to, me to go to the house, then they'd come to our little bedroom.
Wow.
And I'd do it from there. And if I couldn't get a babysitter, obviously, as well, I'd be like, let me just put the twins down. They're in the next room, I'll do you all. So I was juggling the twins plus my work.
Why did you choose that route? Like, you could have easily went, I've just had kids.
Yeah.
Let me just be a mum, feed them, change the nappy, have a little nap, be a woman of leisure or something,
Yeah.
Like, what made you have that drive to get up and go, no, I need more. I need to do something more.
Because I didn't want Martin to work so hard. And obviously, I did have the twins, and yet, yes, like I could have just been that person, but I don't want him to work that hard. And because I didn't want him to work that hard, it's up to me to bring that money in from our kids. They're not my kids, they're not his kids, they're our kids. So we should provide together.
What were the biggest challenges you faced
With the twins or with work?
with the work side of things? Because entrepreneurship, like, it's quite different because you maybe got to advertise, you've got to buy stock that you're not earning money off straight away, and
Yeah.
you got to invest a lot into it, if that makes sense. And some days don't go as good as others, and it's all on you.
Yeah, so basically we're just like when we had a little bit of money come in, I'd just literally whatever we'd put, obviously the initial setup, you got all your products and stuff, and then any money I made sure that we kept the money back for the next lot of products as well as a little bit more, and then whatever I made was then our little bit of money. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was something.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Well, it mattered to me that I was just bringing that little bit of something and not just expecting Martin to bring it all in.
That's a good mindset to have, really.
Yeah.
And how did you get onto your next business?
So I did hairdressing as well. So obviously hair, beauty, so all that came into play. And then I tend to get bored. So I move from one thing to the next. So
Yeah, because we've got a list here, isn't it?
yeah.
We've got hairdressing, beauty, flowers, FBA, and wedding dressing, and now interior designer. Like, that's a whole list. Like, you're
That's
underselling
just-
yourself here. There's like 5 different industries that you've got. All look very creative, might I
Yeah.
add.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get really bored, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't get bored of me.
That's the only thing I don't get bored of. But yeah, that's all my entrepreneurial backside. But I have done quite a lot of jobs. So I've worked in the community care with the elderly. And before I had the twin, obviously I was a nursery nurse first. And then before I had the twins, I was at a day centre for disabled adults.
Okay.
We used to take them swimming, we used to take them cinemas. And I like to be out and about, which is why I think I've also worked in New Look as well, doing the deliveries out the back with the lads, and I loved that. That was my favourite, most my favourite job, just because it was chill.
Yeah.
And I was out with the lads, and I was just I'm that kind of girl. But yeah, that's all the jobs that I've done really. I did that community care one, and then that day centre one before I had the twins, and then because I'd got the twins, then I was like, when I worked in a nursery, I wanted to be an entrepreneur mom, because when I worked in the nursery, I looked after this nurse's baby, and he was only 6 weeks old, and she was a single mom, so she had to go back to work, and she missed all his firsts. She missed his first crawl,
Wow.
his first word, when he was walking. She missed all of that.
Wow.
And I said to myself, when I get my babies, I'm not being that mom.
Yeah.
That's why I did the entrepreneur stuff, because I could take my kids to school. I've took my kids to school every day. I've been there for all their plays. I've been there for all their meetings. I've been there to pick them up. And they're 13 now.
As well as running businesses.
As well as running my own
Wow.
business alongside.
That's really inspirational, you know. It's something you can't put money on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is you can't buy that back. You can't buy that time back.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're a very empathetic person and very caring, and you've turned that into your why.
Yeah.
Why you have to be there for your kids, and how to work on a different chessboard rather than a 9-to-5 sort of employee. You've got to have your own business because you want all these memories.
Because
That's a great point.
if you have your own business, then you get the chance to do all them things, and that's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to me, to be there for my children.
Mm-hmm. So today you're an interior designer.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about interior designing. So, like, let me tell you my experience of interior design, because I've never employed an interior designer. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I have made some real blunders. Like, I at the start of this podcast, before it even started, I said I'm renovating a place, and I was like, what the fuck was I doing 10 years ago with this place? You know, it was horrible dark oaky floor, magnolia walls, that sort of type, and you know, it doesn't look that aesthetically nice. So now I'm like, well, last night I pulled up all the flooring. I bought some nice whitey grey floor. I've got just some real nice like Dulux white paint everywhere. And I thought, all right, so this is going to be a blank canvas for me.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to put a nice like royal blue sofa, some mustard pillows on there, couple of nice little frames, couple of little quirky ornaments. I'm an interior designer. I'm not gonna have to pay no one 2, 3, 4, 5 grand for this. Like, I know what I'm doing, you know. But I want to hear it from your point of view. Now you're looking from that side. What is the difference that you can make? What's the eye that you have? How are you doing your research as well? You know, because there's a lot of youngsters who are watching this and go, maybe I'd want to do something like that. And how do I go about it, or get inspired? Where do I look? And what is the quality of you guys? What is your niche? What is your market? What do you provide? What is the difference maker?
That's a lot of questions.
I know.
I'm trying to remember them in order now. Yeah, but what you don't value is your time.
Okay.
So yeah, it might cost you a couple of thousand for someone to do that, but you're not looking at the bigger picture.
Okay.
You're looking at, that's going to save me money. I haven't got someone else to do that. And you're putting your personal touch in there. So that's obviously, sometimes it's good. Sometimes some people just haven't got the eye.
Mm-hmm. Like me.
Like Martin, for instance. I dress Martin.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, because you just got no thing with colours.
Yeah.
You can't put colours together.
Okay.
And that's the thing with some people. Like, I do look at some people's things and think,
What was you doing?
Yeah.
Tell us some of these things. What have you seen?
just like little bugbears when people do projects, and they're like, they'll do, everything in the bathroom, all black taps and black showers and screens, and I'm like, but you forgot the plug hole. Why is the plug hole silver?
Yeah.
Why is the little overflow ring silver? Why is the toilet seat rings silver when everything else is black? If you're going to do black, do everything black.
Wow.
And I pick up on them little things.
Attention to detail.
Yeah, so it really irritates the life out of me. And with our projects, like gold is very hard to like match, because you've got like brush gold, but then you've got like a really yellowy gold. And if their golds don't match, it bugs me really bad.
OCD kicks
Yeah.
in.
My
Terrible.
OCD kicks in, and I'm just like, no, that's not going there. And I will buy the same brand if it costs me money. Costs more money. If that colour's correct throughout that brand, I will buy the whole of that brand.
At what level should people be looking at interior design? Because I can hear a lot of things here and budgets flagging up to me. So I don't think you want to be an entry level landlord with a box standard 3-bedroom house that you just want to give to like social housing, or just your normal average sort of couple working tenant. What level would you start thinking about interior design of, the look and feel of certain things, or is it the entry level as well to a certain level? How do you look at it?
So with us, we kind of look at all the design element from when it's back to brick. So when you're starting to do first fix, that's when we look at the design. We're like, okay, where's the bed going to go? Where's the lighting going to be? Where's the wardrobes going to go?
And do you draw that out first
Yeah.
of all, so then you can give that to like electrician, so you know where lights and stuff
Well,
are going?
I literally get a spray can and
Spray can.
I have got like a picture of me on my Instagram, and it shows where I'm plotting out. And I don't just put like an X to say a spotlight's going to go there. I wanted downlights. I draw downlights on the wall to say that's going to be a downlight.
Brilliant. I love that.
It's going to be an up and down light.
Really love that.
But I think going back to that, like you saying at what entry level is this expected? Like, or if I wasn't with Sarah and I was still doing this journey, I am useless at interior design. So my properties wouldn't look as amazing if I didn't have somebody like Sarah coming in to do that, because you get stressed out with budget, don't I? I'm like we did a video the other day about porcelain slabs. Like I was adamant we were not having porcelain slabs just because of cost, and you went out and found them, didn't you? So the beauty of it is, like, we paid £1,600 for nearly 100 square meters.
Yeah.
It should have been nearly £4,500. But I haven't got the time to find them.
Yeah.
I'm not shopping in bargain corners because I walk past them.
Yeah.
But Sarah found them.
Wow.
So that's the difference
Where'd you find
between
them, Sarah?
In
Bathroom
bargain
mountain.
corners. Yeah, so like you said, that is the difference. Like, obviously, there's two different things. There's an interior designer which will work with you with colours and lighting and natural light and all them kind of things. And then there's a property stager.
Yes.
So staging is totally different. That's where it's already finished.
Yeah.
And you just need someone to put the furniture in.
Right.
So like SAs or HMOs.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of SAs which are our own. I've staged them, and they're like a luxury type of feel. So they've got like velour settees and, duck-filled pillows and stuff like that. It's the different things. And I suppose, like, some people don't budget staging into the projects, but I don't think our latest project would have sold, as stunning as it is. It wouldn't have sold for our asking price, which we hit the ceiling value in the street for a semi-detached. I don't think that would have sold for the asking price if it wasn't staged.
Yeah.
And that's overlooked. They think it's a cost. It's not a cost, it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's as much as investment as you picking out the gold tiles or, the gold taps, or it needs to be budgeted into more projects because, you want the property to sell fast.
Yeah.
You need to create emotion.
Yes.
So you need them to say, oh, wow, this looks amazing from the outside. I wonder what it looks like inside. And by you staging the property, putting beds and pillows, they'll be like, oh, okay, the bed goes there. And, that table's big enough for 6 people.
Yeah.
I normally dine with 6 people.
Yes.
So entertaining is a big thing. And the way we designed our Warsaw project was, it was just amazing. Like, it's attention to detail. I felt as though like if I was to live here, how would it work for us as a family? And that's what you need to think about. It's not about, oh, just put a grey carpet in there, that'll be fine, and that in there, that'll be fine. We did like loads of design elements, like we did sliding pocket doors that go into the wall because I didn't want it to be into the room to take up the space.
Yeah.
Slide the doors into the wall. And then that created a snug when it was shut.
Yeah.
And then when it was open, it created the flow of a entertaining space. And because the kitchen is really open plan, it made it even bigger.
Yeah. It's
And
huge.
then from the front door, I wanted to see then the garden. As soon as I opened the door, I wanted to see the garden. So we created French doors into the kitchen from the hallway, and then you just saw the garden. And that's because we had bifolds. So, and I wanted to see the kitchen island. So I wanted to create all these things. And when I actually walked into the project, when it was finished, and I'd created what was in my head, I cried. I absolutely
That's emotion.
cried because I'm like, I created this. And it's scary because you think, is it going to work? Is that going to be what I'm creating? Can I get that out properly so it communicates well with the builders to make sure they get my vision?
Yes.
And we did it, didn't we?
I like that thing about, you drawing stuff on the walls, because something in your head is something very different in somebody else's head. You try to explain it so many times. Like, I've had podcasts that I want edited a certain way, or a website designed a certain way. I was like, just do it, make sure it's like that. And you look at it and you're like, right, did that really happen? Like, I'm not gonna be bad, but one of my editors is probably watching this right now. But I said to him, make that logo up there bounce around.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he made, in this big screen, he made it all black and just made this one little take a seat here bounce around in red. And it was like, no, the whole thing needs to be red and take a seat needs to be bouncing around. But it was so different in his head. He can't be to blame. And I always think you have to always reflect it back to yourself. What have I not done for that person not to understand?
Yeah.
Because we're all at different levels. But that thing about literally drawing it on, what do you think of technology, by the way? Because nowadays, there's this new AI that's come out, and you can literally go, show me a woman walking through New York City in this color clothes and stuff. You press enter and it looks real, and it's just AI. So you're almost allowed to do your own advert, show someone of your description and your description walking through a forest, going into a big mansion or something. If you wanted to use it part of your branding, your your website or introduction to yourself before you come out, you could create that just by typing chat GPT. We've got a newsletter, write me a newsletter this week regarding the budget that's just happened, and it pulls in all that information. Also, tell them this new event that you're going to be doing, and then you just paste in the link, sort of thing. And it goes, there you go, done.
Yeah.
I was even away, and I was talking to this lady who is, I have to be careful about this. How do I word this? She's a specialist in a certain field, and she goes, oh no, this takes me ages. I don't have time to do this. I went, here you go, download that. Type in this, and she was like, you've just freed up 75% of my time.
Wow.
No more admin. And she was like, also, I need to open my laptop, I need to go into my Google Drive, I need to upload this, type in that. That's all work once I get home. And it was like, no, you don't. You mirror that onto your iPhone. There's your file, there's your drive. You go straight in there, enter it. As soon as that comes into your bank account, there's your work done. And she's like, literally, this trip's just been amazing, just because you've got all my admin done, all my letters done, everything done. Normally I have to sit and think about what to write.
Yeah.
Do you use AI? Does it work in the AI or construction industry at all?
Yeah.
Or anything that you know of?
We use it for our, we have been using it recently
Yeah.
We've started to use it more recently, and it does free up so much of your time massively. But we went to the Stephen Bartlett seminar, didn't we?
I was just
Oh,
going to
wow.
say that is in
And
my head.
we was watching that, and we was. I'll talk about something else when we walked
Yes.
out as well, like the negativity and mindset thing. But when we were sitting in there, he was speaking about when the internet was launched,
Yes.
and there was three news producers or presenters sitting on the table, and they were all saying about, I won't be using the internet. The internet's going to be the crash of the economy and blah blah blah, and it's too personal, and I'm just happy to go around and knock somebody's door. I'm not going to be doing this emailing thing. And that was like, now everybody's talking about AI
Yeah.
and
so
ChatGPT.
Yes.
it's kind of the same thing.
It's come around again, where now everybody's now scared of it, which in a way I suppose is scary, because like when you think about it, it's like when I type in, my email and my password, I'm typing that into an intelligence thing, and I'm just like, that has now probably got access to all my emails, all my logins, because you don't think you use the same password, and then you think, right, they've probably now logged into my bank, but you don't know. But the thing is, it is a good system for businesses. It's going to be, mind blowing, isn't it? It's gonna.
I think it'll take away, obviously, a few jobs, but
That's the next thing I was going to say. Is it going
it
to make
gives
people redundant?
more people time, doesn't it? Time back.
Two main things you've said there. So when you're going into, using AI and you sharing passwords, so I think the cybersecurity is a very big one.
Yeah.
You've got to look out for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I think some of them do 2-step verification.
Yeah.
So you either got to use a Google Authenticator that changes every single time, only access to you, or sometimes it allows you to verify by your email or
Yeah.
phone number, which you could have compromised already, which is what you're saying. So you got to be very careful. And the other thing is, things get, made obsolete sort of. But then we have to think about it that every bus used to have a bus conductor.
Yeah.
And now it's just the Oyster card, like
Yeah.
beeping and there. So things are always changing, and I suppose it will always be evolving. What do you think of, like, I think I saw Margaret Thatcher
Yeah.
saying something along the lines of, you mustn't just rely on benefits. Like, what do you expect from life on benefits? Like, you're going to be a slave to what the government sort of want. And it's not the government's fault. It's just got a pot of money that is got for people who don't want to work or unfortunately are not able to work. But if that's a life that you've chosen, then you're going to have a certain weekly allowance of what you can spend, on what you can do. And then you're going to be in a negative mindset because there's a lot of things that you won't be able to do. As you said, Sarah, earlier on, there's social media and some people are even faking it till they're making it. I literally went to Dubai.
Yeah.
I rented a Rolls Royce for 600 and it was split by 3 boys. It was £200 for the day.
Yeah.
Best experience. And I got a yacht for 110. Yeah. Split by 3 boys. Yeah. And it was like 33 quid each or something like that.
Yeah.
It was nothing. The videography I got from them couple of hours, people were DMing me like crazy. What do you do? How do I do it? How do I get there? And I was just like, wow, this faking it to you, making it really does fucking work. Like, it all sort of sells. You know what I mean?
That's something that we don't do. We would never go and rent a yacht. We would never go and rent a car because we're real. We are just so transparent. Sometimes sometimes I think, did we really just like open up and
too
say that?
transparent,
We really like truthful. So we would never do that. And
Yeah.
like people keep saying to us, oh, you need to show off more. You need to
Yes.
get yourself out there
Yeah.
more. You need to show this, you need to show that. I'm like, no, we don't.
What about playing devil's advocate here and going, what about the lesser of two evils? You guys are one of the real ones in the industry. You're doing real work. You can prove it. You can show it. You've got generational knowledge and so many businesses, but people are not coming to you because they might not be able to see it. And that's because they've not been brainwashed, but they've got a different belief system that you have to have all of these things. And that's what some of the things that I was told to say. If you want to help others, you got to get them in to see you.
Yeah.
Once they're through that door, then you can give them the real you and go, look, this is exactly how life is. I have got these numbers. I can show you these numbers. This is. That is rented. Like, that is something we had fun with. And you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
What about coming from that point of view?
I think going back to what you just said about never doing that, I think we would do it, but it would be
It would be is an
An
experience for us.
experience
Yes.
is what we was trying to say.
Yes.
So obviously,
Not a showing off
Yes.
thing to say, oh, this is what we've got from making £500 a month from one property. No,
yeah.
no,
But
you don't.
Yeah, we'd say to people, every time somebody asks us for advice, we just literally say it how it is.
You do.
And like with property is not fast. It's not easy. You know,
It's not for everyone.
I was watching Anthony Lavelle, who's just done a talk recently as well about like the biggest problem in property is running out of money. So you can be doing a project and you can say, right, that's going to cost me 100k. You can be 150k deep in that deal.
Yes.
Where's the other 50k coming from? But a lot of people will go on this journey and think, right, let's run into this. We only need 100k.
Yeah.
But then they haven't got proper, builders quotes. They haven't allowed for services. They haven't allowed for
Gas
council
is-
tax, electric, gas, business rates.
Yes.
And that could be a ridiculous amount more in a project.
Yes.
Where do you raise that other money from? But then it goes back to what you just says. You have to be out there showing people what you're doing
Yeah.
for people to attract people.
Yeah.
So where does it stop and start? It's a difficult line to, some people show off when they've not got nothing. And,
Yes.
what's the point of that?
Yes. Something I really liked about you, Martin, one of my last networking events was in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And it was this lovely talk up there, and they're painting a lovely picture, which it could be true,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was bad, good, bad, ugly, whatever, but it was this great networking event, and it was talking about the social housing summit, how, is the best thing that you could get into. It's really passive. It's really like helping other people, which it is.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get your lovely house back, even in better condition. Like,
Yeah.
they painted up like you're going to get a mansion back. Like, you give them a little 1-bedroom flat and you'll have a mansion back. But on a real note, it was like, all the sinks, bathrooms are all going to be renovated. And there's you just got up, took the mic and went, it's not like that. I've just taken a contract over 200 plus houses,
Yep.
and they've got broken sinks, punched in doors, and that's exactly what it's like. And the thing that they came back is, oh, that's an anomaly. That what? But the thing I heard was, you've taken on 200 plus properties,
Yeah.
and they was just like, well, that's a great opportunity for you. Like,
Yeah.
like you wasn't shy at all that day.
I never
never
am.
is.
I just say it how it is, and I ask the questions that everybody's thinking and doesn't want to ask. So obviously the question that day was like, obviously you're saying that you will give us our baby, our pride and joy that we've worked hard to buy back in a better state, which, I've gone into these properties, and obviously a repair is a repair. Let's face facts. You're not, if you're repairing a wall, it's not brand new plastered. It's a repair. If you're repairing a door, it's been repaired. It's not a brand new installed door. And they're saying that you're going to get it back in better state, which is not true. And, they're selling dreams. They're selling like, we will give us your properties and we will give them back to you even better, which they won't. And, like I know of people that, like at that meeting, the guy that I spoke about, who was nearly £23,000 in debt through social housing.
Wow.
He actually got all his money back the other day, and he's actually made a success of it. But it
Congratulations.
took him nearly 6.5 months to get that money in.
Wow.
And he was going to give up. He was going to
Bankrupt himself.
Yeah. And just get rid. And we was like, no, stick at it. Do this. Try this. And then he's ringing. No, it's not working. No, try this then.
Yeah.
Go to this person. Speak to that person. And we pushed him and gave him guidance. And he's now got all his money back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was ready to give up.
Congratulations to you guys.
Yeah. But we just quietly just kept calling him, didn't we? And checking in on him and saying, right, do this, do that, do
Like
the next
so
thing.
many people, they're like, that's why we've got this little community, because so many people, once they've done all the courses and stuff, they've got nowhere else to go, which is how we felt. Once you've done it, then where do you go to for help? There's nowhere. So that's why we created this little community, because if anybody gets stuck, there's someone there to help them. If we can't, or if we're busy doing something for an hour or two, somebody on the group will say, oh, try this person, or yeah, there's a connection for that. And that's what we wanted to create. It's to help each other. Because obviously we're still quite new in our journey. A couple of years, that's all we've been doing it for. We've got obviously the knowledge and the construction and stuff and the business sense side of it. And then that's how we help people with their journeys. So
Brilliant. I love that. Martin, I've got a question for you now. So a lot of people say, oh, builders are the worst people you'll ever work with. You know, they rip you off, they got over budget, they take more time. They always pull up another problem and saying, look, we're doing this, but we found that now, and, you know, charging you extra, always giving you a hard time. What's the opposite side of that?
I don't think I'm a normal builder, but obviously I work with a lot of contractors, so I understand where everybody comes from because I deal with them people daily myself. I think the biggest divide in a good builder is whether or not that builder actually cares. I actually care about what your end product's going to be. I actually care if you run over on budget. Don't get me wrong, obviously, if it's a 20 grand job and I could get 40 grand on that job, I'd prefer the 40 grand. But I'm not going to push that job to get to 40 grand. You know, I'm going to say to you, right, if we do this, we're going to save money. If we do this, then you'll pay less. But I'll tell you that in the beginning, but that comes down to experience. Where there's a lot of these builders, the problem is continuation of work in the building trade. And they jump from one thing to the next. And they could be a window fitting company, but then they'll come to you because they're short on work and tell you that they can build your extension. And you'll be like, okay, then that's fine. Let's go. They've never built an extension in their life, but they're telling you that they can. So I think it's down to this whole property due diligence thing. So, like, obviously, you've got to do due diligence on your builders. You know, you've got to. We put everything on social media. I say to anybody, if they want a recommendation on me, publicly write it on my Facebook because bad news travels fast. And if there's somebody that doesn't like me on my Facebook or somebody that I've done a terrible job for, they will pop up. And they'll say, oh, Martin did this job and it was terrible. So that's what I said to you earlier about I found all my builders through Facebook for my Lake District project. I put a post on, you know, like the buy, sell, swap page.
Yeah.
And everybody I've spoke to in the industry, like the big property gurus and that, they was all like, use my builder, use Federation of Master Builders. I was a part of them and they're a scam.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like I got into the Federation of Master Builders. They asked me for 5 recommendations. I gave them 5 recommendations and my pack came through the post. And I was like, oh, fantastic. I'm a part of the Federation of Master Builders. I rung up all them people. I says, oh, I really wanted to thank you for being a recommendation and allowing them to come around and see the work. They didn't visit one site. They didn't call one person and they let me in. It was all a money thing, basically, to get into their whole, you know, system.
and if you didn't pay the fee next year, you get took off.
Yeah, and it was like a 3-strike system. So like you can rip off 3 people before you get striked off the list.
Bloody hell, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah. So we was just like, okay. So we dropped out of all of them kind of schemes and we just thought, you know what, build a website, get genuine recommendations, put it all over social media, get people to follow us in our local area, and it just blew up. But I did it in the Lake District. Like I had like 8 or 9 back-to-back meetings. They all met me one by one. And you get a vibe and a feel for them. And I never told them I was a builder. So obviously I had the ability to speak to them just being a client and then listen to what their feedback was. But obviously if you're unknowledgeable in building, you won't know how to communicate with them. But it's all through social media. You can get feedback off somebody through social media very easily and like past recommendations.
How do I know, like, 2 people look good in front of me and one's giving me a quote for 25 and the other one's going for 30, 32?
Yeah.
Is the expensive one better? Like, they're both sort of telling me similar things. Like, what would you say?
You need to go and view their work. You need to put in the footwork. You need to say, right, because the builder that you ask to go and see 10 of their jobs, they'll panic. Or if the other one is good, he'll say, that's fantastic. Come on, here's all the addresses.
Brilliant.
You know, you might only go to 2. But say to them, say, like, you know, can I have 5, 6, 7 jobs I can physically go and see? one woman's done that to me in the past, and I am good at what I do, but I panicked. I was thinking 10 addresses.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of all the addresses because obviously you just forget because you're doing so many
there's so
jobs.
many.
Yeah.
And she was like, she actually went to like 4 or 5, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then she appointed me to do the work.
Brilliant.
But it was like, for me, that was a big learning curve because I thought, you know what, if I didn't have that ability to send her to that many jobs, I wouldn't have won that job. But ask for as many addresses as possible.
Okay.
And then obviously, like he says on the buy sell swap pages, just put recommendations for builders in this area, and then everybody will recommend them, and you just look for one that pops up the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're popping up the most, obviously they're doing good work.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So take that
Yeah.
as a lead more than going on some websites, and they
Yeah.
might have just AI AI reviews on there from
Yeah.
Steve
Joe
down the road.
blogs.
Yeah.
No, makes sense.
that's a way that you can.
But I suppose it's
build, so-
difficult, like what you're saying, like one's 25, one's 35. But like as property, because we're on both ends, we're builder and
Yeah.
property investors. So now we're trying to save money on our projects,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
get the best job.
Yeah.
So where's the divide?
Yeah.
Do you pay more to get a better job and take less of a profit?
Yeah.
Or do you go the reverse and get the cheapest job and you make more?
Yeah.
But then if you
difficult.
take the cheapest quote, it ends up costing you more in the long run.
Yeah. And quality.
Yeah.
You know, it
difficult.
must be hard in your position, Martin, because you're a builder by trade all them years.
Yeah.
And you're having to get another builder to do something that you could potentially do a little bit better if you were there.
Well, no, because we've just built our own 2 building firms now. So we've got
Okay.
Harvey Co Project Management and
Okay.
my original baby, MH Builders.
Okay.
So they're Birmingham-based companies. One's more residential, the other one's commercial.
Right. Okay.
So we've got like 17 staff employed now.
Right. Okay. And then do you deploy them?
Yeah, we just get
Yeah.
them on all our projects.
Wicked.
And we just take on more lads to integrate.
Right.
So it's already something that we've set up. They already know how I work and operate, and they know Sarah's level of finish. And now we just, every couple of months, put one more staff in. And then just basically, you learn from the environment you're in. So obviously they're learning what we want and how we want it without us physically having to be on site. We've
Yesterday
grown
we
the
had
team very quickly. And
yesterday we had like a big team meeting. So our subcontractor, the electrician, and then we had obviously our project manager,
yeah,
our business partner, and we was just sat there and was like, right, what problems have we come against? And then we was asking our project manager, like, is there any problems that you're facing at the minute? What can we do to help you make your life easier that we can take on, or we can ask somebody else to do to make your life easier and theirs, and like from one subby to the next, what can we do for you? How do you find working with us? Do we do anything wrong? And our subcontractor was like, no, you're one of the easiest customers we've ever had, and that's why we've been working with him for, did he say 12 years now?
I thought it was 10, but yeah, 12.
12 years we've been working with our electrician.
Wow.
And obviously it's, because we understand family and value and stuff like that, and obviously we treat our team as a family.
Yeah.
Some are family, but we do treat all the others as family as well. And obviously if they've got it's the culture of your business. So if they've got like kids plays, we allow them to go to the kids play, and we're like, okay, we'll see you at 11 o'clock because that's important.
Yeah.
They're not just coming for a job. They're coming to help you grow. So you need to help them grow.
Yeah.
And allow them to have their time, because that's what I value. I want to go and see my kids play. They should be able to go and see their kids play.
So many of our contractors that have got to a level where we can't physically pay them more as a wage. So we've helped them set up their own company.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like literally they've just gone self-employed. We've like, there's your logo, there's your brand, there's your, custom, there's clientele, bang, there you go, there's your invoicing system. We've done that for a few people now.
Can I ask you just a random question in terms of like, can you answer this? So if I was just to say, what's the going rate for a loft conversion right now? So like a single loft conversion, adding another room with an ensuite, box standard. Is there a going rate in the market that you'd say?
It's area. So in Birmingham, for that loft conversion now, you're paying anything in between 45 to 50k. They used to be as low as 32k before COVID, and like we could blow them out at that rate. Increase in materials have just gone ridiculous, and then obviously there's inflation, and then lads having more money for their wages. You know, we're currently sitting in between 45 to 50k for a one bedroom ensuite loft conversion.
Okay, cool. And do you know what sort of money that adds on to a property?
I think that it basically breaks even or adds a little bit. But that's when you're a customer paying for it. Like we're adding value to our properties because we're getting it done at cost.
Yeah.
So, for example, we might be earning 10 grand on that loft in our own labour values.
Yeah.
So then we're making that money. But like we're doing it because we're predominantly pushing HMO specialism now. So that's what we do, specialising in HMOs in Birmingham. And every property we're buying straight away is a loft conversion.
Right.
And we're putting 2 bedrooms, 2 en-suites in there.
And has Article 4 come into Birmingham as well now? Like to stop
It's
them,
already
or
there, yeah.
are there still pockets of areas you know about?
We're buying in and around the outskirts of Birmingham. Like Smethwick is a Birmingham area, and it's in a B postcode. But part of it's called Samwell. So Samwell's not in Article 4.
Right.
So we know the areas where we can buy and still turn them into HMOs.
And you help other people source and do that for them as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we portfolio build for investors as well.
Nice. And do you do the management side as well?
We don't do the management. We don't do the management side, but what we do is we find the property, we do all the bills,
Yeah.
we do all the staging, and then we hand the keys back.
Sure. And if I'm someone in London, go, I like the sound of that. It's a lot more cheaper than London, and the rents are not too much different. You know, I can get a good ROI there.
Yeah.
How would I manage that?
So basically, it'd just be like a consultation meeting with us, sitting down, seeing what your wants and needs are. Obviously, then we find the property for a fee. Then we project manage the whole project. We put them in contact with our solicitors if they need that. We put them in contact with our finance company if they need that. We get it to the end stage, so as they refinance it back into their own company and their details. And then we put them in contact with 2 fantastic management companies in Birmingham. And that just operates. And then we've got the maintenance team thereafter as well.
Yeah, we can do all the maintenance.
Completely
for them
hands-free.
When you're working with teams yourself, like you have your in-house sort of like finance companies, obviously they're probably a standalone company as well, is that right?
Yeah.
Like, and then how about when people know about what you guys do and who you use and they go directly with them? How do you sort of manage that in terms of trust with the teams that you use, making sure you're getting your referral or finder fees and or building that relationship up still between each other? Trust.
It doesn't matter with us really as in regards to like the finance company. The finance company is readily available to everybody.
Yeah.
Our solicitor is readily available to everybody. Our services are what we actually physically do for our time. So if you came to us for your first project and we'd say to you, right, there's the finance company, there's the solicitor.
Yeah.
If you did another 10 projects with us, you'd continue to use them. You don't need to come through me.
Yeah.
You just need to come to me. I find the property for you.
Yeah.
We renovate it. We get it to a high standard. Sarah stages it all. She designs it all. Then you go back to the finance company, refinance it with the same solicitor. It's yours.
Yeah.
So like the beginning process is more time consumption.
Yeah.
But then after project 1, project 2 is just physically we find the property, develop it, give it back to you.
Makes sense.
It's just so much easier.
So you've done something quite quirky. You've built up a 1.5 million
Yeah.
property portfolio with none of your own money.
Yeah, none at all, yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I always said, didn't I, that you need money to make money.
Yeah.
It was one of my sayings that for when I was growing up. I was like, I really need money. I've got all these ideas and I need money to make money. But then I thought that I just needed to carry on with my job. I just thought I needed to work with my hands, make more money, put more hours in to make more money. And then Sarah kept saying to me, she was like, you're not doing it right. You know, you could do this, you could do the other. And like my mindset was just so strong on, no, if I do 3 more hours a day, that's X amount a week and I can make more money. And like, you know, I was coming out with another 200 a week and then another 400, 500 a week. And I just thought that was the way, work harder, get more money. But then Sarah was like, no, let's go to, get educated in property investment and this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, it's a scam. I ain't interested. And obviously, happy wife, happy life. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. Went along, I just knew I was going to be sold to. I just knew there was going to be like, oh, buy this, buy that, buy the other. And I was like, straight away, because I'm salesman for my own company, I was just like negative towards that. I'm like, no, you're not selling me nothing. Not interested. Don't even talk to me about selling something. Sat through it and I thought, I was listening. I was like, oh yeah, you don't need to buy property with your own money. You can work with other people. You can collaborate. And that always stuck in my mind. It like planted a seed. So then I started reaching out to people that knew me, that I'd worked with, and I just dropped them a text. I was like, I don't know if you know what I'm doing, but I'm now doing property investment. I want to buy some properties. Do you want to work with us? And the response was insane. But we'd already built up. We didn't know what network was, and our network was already there. And when we understood network and we understood working with people, not going alone, I just sent out a few text messages, same as Stephen Bartlett says about sending out cold emails. Send out them emails, and he gave £10,000 worth of camera equipment. You've just got to reach out to receive. And we did that, and people just kept coming to us. We've got money, we've got money, we've got money.
Like we worked as a team. Obviously, we collaborated with them people. We did JVs with them.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it with without your own money. But what we bring to the table is our knowledge of the construction trade.
Yeah.
So they might bring the money, but we bring the knowledge of the planning permission. How an extension goes from footings to finish.
Yeah.
We bring the sweat equity rather than the money, and that's how you do it without your own money.
Yeah.
So they'll bring the money, but you've got to know what you bring to the table, and make sure that your value is worth what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah. JVs is a massive grey area because you've got to understand your worth, their worth, and what value is being brought to the table.
We think JV is like marriage.
Yeah.
You need to know that person inside out. You can't just meet at a couple of networking events and say, "Come on, then let's go." We've learnt so much with JVs and working with people in the last couple of years, and it is like a marriage. Like you've got to make sure that they're on it as much as you're on it, and like the last thing that you want if you decide that you're going to be doing it together, rather than one just saying, "Oh no, I'm not, just the hands off, put money in, and I ain't got the time to do that." Then the other one understands, okay, this is all on me to get this done. But if you go in with it together and one's not pulling the weight as much as the other one, and how's that fair on you?
Yeah.
When you've both say put half the money in together, and you both said you're going to do it together, but then one's all of a sudden jetting off on holiday, or they're doing something else, and that's taking up the time instead of what you're doing. So JVs, like Martin says, a bit of a grey area, but it is like a marriage as well. Treat it as if you're going to go into a personal relationship with that person.
So what sort of attributes should you look for, or due diligence, like you say, because that is a common question is, how do I find the right partner? Like if I'm partnering up in business or JV?
Well, we've understood our value now, and we've understood that we've gone through this journey. We've made mistakes, you know what I mean? And we don't see them as failures. We see them as lessons. So obviously mistakes are made and you learn from them. So we've got to a point now where we will never stop learning. Nobody will ever stop learning. But we've got so much value and experience now that what we say to people is, come on the journey with us first on a loan agreement basis. So give us your money, we utilise your money, we show you what we do, and then we see how much effort they put in for a small amount. So say, for example, like 10s and 6%. So if they're prepared to be there every week, every 2 weeks, be on site, be calling you, chasing you, they're all in. They want this as much as you. But then, like, obviously, if you've got somebody where they've just given you the money and then you don't hear off them for a year, how could they be a good JV partner? They're not showing you the skill set that you need to help you grow as well as them grow, because they've got no heart in it. It's just to them, it's just money, and I'll get my money back and I'll get a return. So I feel like you've got to have like, you've got to have the same values and the same. They've got to realise that your time is as valuable as theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't understand that, then you can't do JVs with people.
Some people are scared, though.
Yeah.
Some people are scared to ask too many questions. They don't want to upset the other person or
Yeah.
be annoying, or is that a common question that I'm asking? And
Yeah.
will I look stupid?
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
That's what we like, though. Like, because with our JVs, we're like, no question is a silly question.
Exactly what I
Like,
was going to
you
say.
obviously don't know the answer, and if we can help you find that answer, we'll tell you the answer. It's not a silly question. You just don't understand the process, or you don't know the answer to that question. Just ask. It's not, it's not.
You
a
don't know
problem.
what you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when we started, we knew nothing about bridging. We knew nothing about buying a house with a solicitor because we were still in rented.
Yeah.
So when I rung the solicitor, I apologised. As soon as she answered the phone, I said, I will be messaging you every week and I will be ringing you every week just saying, what's next? What do I do with this? What does this mean? I says, is that okay with you? She says, yeah, that's fine. And then my bridging broker, I was just like, right, I'm going to be doing the same to you. I'm going to basically be asking you all these questions in and out every week. You'll have emails upon emails. Get back to me whenever you want to get back to me. But please, can you answer these questions? Because I'm on a learning journey. And I just asked 5-6 questions every week, relentlessly. And they had the patience to basically go through it with me. And that's how I learned.
Yes.
Asking questions. Don't be scared.
And you learn better by doing the journey.
Yeah.
You can sit in all the courses and stuff, but you'll take bits in, but because it's so intensive, you won't actually take it in. When you're doing the journey and you're like, oh, okay, that I remember what he said about that I'll have to implement that now.
Yeah.
So when you're going through the journey, that's when you'll learn the most.
Yeah, it's silly little
Being
things.
practical.
Like obviously with
Yeah.
our earn and learns, like obviously if I was to say to you, right, I'm going to put the DPC layer in, and then I'm going to put a PIR board in of 125, and then I'm going to put a fibre screed floor in. That's just gone over everybody's head.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, exactly.
So then if I've got you on site and I show you what a
Yeah.
DPM is, what a DPC is, and then I show you what a PIR board is, and then I show you how the fibre screed gets put in place, that is impregnated in your mind because you can't unsee or unhear things. It's seen, it's in your head, it's logged.
Yeah. You've got quite a few property sort of gurus in Birmingham, haven't you? You've got,
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got Saj.
few.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a veteran.
Yeah.
And you got Steve Hamilton.
Yeah.
He does earn and learn as well, no?
Yeah.
Have you ever met up or?
Yeah, we
seen his
know
projects?
Steve well, we know Saj well. Obviously, it's our town and it's our
Yeah.
city, so obviously we were all doing the same thing in the same city. But we actually spoke about this the other day. It was like they're so different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we was like, you get a little bit of competitiveness in this industry,
Yeah.
but we was like, well, how is Steve and Saj like they're in the same industry in the same city? But like our view on it was obviously Saj is more of a he's an older guy in the industry where he's developed it now. He's got like a different following, and then Steve's got like he's like more flips and development anyway. Saj is like massively pushing his HMO. So they're so different in different ways.
Yeah, they've got their own.
Yeah. So there's a market for
Strategies.
both.
Yeah.
And we know them both. Like we met you again at the Saj one, and
Yeah.
I think I was at Steve's event I think it was his first one back in Feb. So yeah,
I don't think I've ever been to one of Steve's. Like, I haven't had the chance or opportunity or anything.
Yeah.
But it'd be good if when he comes to London again, go and have a little look and stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Have you ever had any of their students come to you or anything like that?
I think that students bounce around a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't know where they fit in, and it's like relatability. We spoke about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like somebody might like Sarah, but not like me. Because I'm like, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, come on, get active, let's get out there, let's get this done. Sarah's like, right, I'll get up at 9 o'clock, but I'll work
with
till
a cup
10.
of tea, and
like Sarah
I'll
already.
wait. Like,
So I believe that like everybody's different. Like Steve's very like similar to me, to be fair. He's like very active, very pushing. He's very like obviously much bigger than us, and he's got some massive success. But some people might be put off by dominance as well. Like Steve's dominant, I'm quite dominant as well, like where they might approach Sarah because she's more approachable. So I do think that happens a lot because we see, like, you've got TDN in Birmingham, so we go to the TDNs and we see people at TDN, then we see them at the SAG events, and then we actually didn't realise that the one woman we met at TDN was a mentee of SAG. And then obviously we met somebody else at the Birmingham SAG event and they're a mentee of Steve. So I think being in the different communities, you learn different ways as well, which is good.
Yeah, it's
Very good.
It's best to go to all of them because
Yeah.
then you're learning bits from each of them,
Yeah.
rather than going to one person. Then you just fully immersed in them and what they're doing, and you got kind of get like blinkers on, and you'll never learn anything else. You'll just constantly be going over the same thing.
But the biggest thing we spoke about, literally, it was like a light bulb this morning. We was like, a lot of people get into a bad education because their marketing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So because their marketing is insane,
You get pulled.
you get drawn to marketing
because it's constantly.
Yeah.
They're constantly there in the space.
Yeah.
So you've got like not like Steve and Sag, like basically, but there's like other property people who really, really push marketing massively, draw people in, but they're literally sitting you in a classroom and showing you slides. And like, you need to be on a site, you need to be going to something, I think it needs to be a physical learning rather than a sit in a classroom or run and get a rent to rent. And
I think the real ones, actually even prefer the sites because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
Whenever I've done a site visit, I've just like literally put on my story, I'm doing this renovation, pop down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the drink to come down sort of thing. They're like, yep, that's fine. We're coming, Sean. And sometimes like an hour's gone, it's 2 hours. And it's just like, but I really enjoy it. And they go, oh, the biggest thing I've learned is how big you think and how passionate you're about it as well.
Yeah.
And this is, I wouldn't have even thought to ask that question until I saw it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That thing. So it's actually easier for the trainer, but it also is easier for the trainer because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like exactly you was explaining earlier, who would know what a damp proof course is or a DPC, whatever it's called? It's like, what does that do? Like, how does that keep out damp? But when you see it, you're like, look, water comes up here, hits that, and you can't get any further. Like, oh, now it makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like we're HMO specialists, but I would love to go to Savoy's HMO education site tour thing.
Yeah.
Just to see how they do things, how they implement things, how they operate, how they run things.
You've always got to be the student.
Yeah. And I do like some of their things because I've been doing HMOs for the last 10 years, but I haven't done it to the level that they have. So they were like, get a little fuse board in every single room. I was like, I'm just thinking money. And then, you can get a special lock for every room, so you never have to figure a key. I was thinking money. That's a 300 there. There's at least a couple of £100 there on a separate fuse box. And just thinking, and then you even before that, you're like, well, that's at that electrical sort of stage that you need to run that wire, that whole ring just for that. And it gets quite expensive, but it's good to see how the industry leaders are doing it. And because if you're going to scale that big, then time is money, as you said.
Of course.
And then there's the problem. It's just in that room. Go and fix that room. It will be done,
Yeah.
So tell me, what's next for you guys? What's the vision? What's the goal? Where are you guys heading to?
Do you want to go with your dream first?
Go on.
Okay, I want to be the biggest HMO specialist in Birmingham. I want to buy my own as well as build portfolios for others. And the other thing that I'm massive on is, I've said it at the last 3 podcasts now, like all these derelict buildings, I want to figure out a way of getting them derelict buildings, renovating them, giving them to the government to home the homeless. Like, why are these derelict buildings so many of them?
Yes.
And there's so many people sleeping on the streets. Well, the government is happy to give money to people that'll sit in a council house and potentially sit there and drink 4 cans of Stella every night, and they'll pay for that as well. But they won't pay for a homeless person to have a room in a property that we potentially own. You know what I mean? Well, what's that about? So that's something that I'm really trying to look into massively.
I'm passionate about that.
I'm massively passionate about it. Like we were in Birmingham Bullring the other day, and there's this guy we keep bumping into, and he's got cuts all over his face. He's not in a good way, and he asked us for money. And you know, this age of there's no cash in your pocket
cash.
anymore because everything's cardless.
Contactless, yeah.
I was like, I've got no money, and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's okay. Have an amazing day. I was like, no, wait. And we were standing at this like fancy croissant stand coffee shop, and I was like, come on. And we asked him to come in, and the staff was looking at us like as if to say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And like he only asked for one croissant, didn't he? One croissant and a cup of tea. I was like, no, get bottles of water.
Yeah.
Do you want 3
Get what you
croissants?
need.
Do you want to, you know what I mean? Just have what you want. And he only asked for 2 croissants, then a cup of tea, and a piece of cake or something.
Yeah.
And the staff was looking at us in disgust, and then the security guard was trying to throw him out. And I was like, what's going on?
Says he's with us.
He's with us. Just leave him.
When he's got his food, he'll leave. He's with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just obviously I need to build me before I can help others.
Yes.
So that's what I'm working on.
100. And there's so many big buildings, especially in Birmingham. Like we went to Sad Hussein's thing. You know, I was just going on the every corner, and there was a few big buildings just boarded up, doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the buildings that you even walk into, like we walked into a bar, and there was a boiler right in front of us next to the bar. I was like, I've never seen that before. Is that like a fucking antique place, like sort of thing? Like, what's going on here? Like, but there's so much opportunity that you know you could develop that all the way up. Do you know what I mean? And build so much, you know, housing and stuff. And I'm just thinking, I wonder how tough the councils are around here. Are they tough?
I need to have a meeting, to be honest. Obviously, we're talking to some people now that does a lot of supported living and social care. So obviously, I'm going to have more meetings with them, and I'm going to say, like, how can we change this and see if, because we'll give the buildings to them to operate, but how can we get this building? Because obviously, none of our own money. How can we develop this, refinance it, get it back in our name, and help the homeless, and you know, or give them to supported living or social care, whatever. But you know, there's a lot of buildings just derelict, so that's my aim.
It's amazing to hear, though.
what's
It's amazing
yours?
to hear.
Mine's just to push the interior design and staging because it's my passion. It's what I love.
Are you a one-person team? Do you have a team? Do you have companies? Do you have warehouses, furniture shops?
I wish. It will get to that stage.
Of course it will.
Yeah, so at the minute it is just me. But obviously more work, more teams. We're actually concentrating on the HMO strategy at the minute. So what I've found at the minute is obviously everything I'm staging is for us. So like HMOs is for our business partner. I'm like done 2 of them. And then the project that we've just finished, I've staged that as well. So obviously I'm at this early starts of my journey with that. But it's my passion and I think I'm good at it. So, you know, I really want to push that further. And then my end goal dream is to get my brand into like Next or Asda or something like that. So I want my own
so
brand.
you get your brand for what, though?
Like soft furnishings,
Okay.
like curtains and bedding and cushions.
Okay.
And I want my own brand in shops.
Big.
Yeah.
Dream big. Love it. I think we've had a brilliant podcast. We've got to wrap this one up. We've literally got 1 minute left. So that was good timing, eh?
Yeah, super.
But is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers at home? You know, a lot of my audience are young as well. They want to get inspired. I'm sure, like, you know, the Property Click Network likes to watch each other and see what everyone's up to. Is there a message that you would like to say?
The one thing I would say is that, like, we threw like £18,000 into education in the beginning. It was literally, we was there for 3 months and we walked away from it because it was just not, back to the marketing. It was over marketed. We was sold a dream, and then we basically didn't pursue that. We learned a lot from it, but what I would say is, I had a phone call with somebody the other day. Literally, there is so much content on YouTube. Watch it back to back 3 times over. Educate yourself through YouTube before you even consider going to an educator.
Yeah, really like delve into things like, what is my lifestyle like? What do I want it to look like?
Yeah.
How much time have I got to be able to educate myself? Pick a strategy. So pick one strategy and just try your best to like just focus on there. Don't get caught up because there's so many avenues you can go down, and that's what we did in the beginning. We like picked SA and development, and we just got so thinking with all the noise and network as well.
Yeah, massively.
Network the shit out of it because you meet so many people and you just don't know where your journey's going to go, and you'll learn from so many people as well. So get yourself to networking events,
Amazing.
and it grows your confidence.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, get yourself to your networking events as well.
Next week.
Yeah. It looked good last time I saw it. I think it was your birthday as well, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
40.
it's 40.
Big 4-0.
Yeah, it looked brilliant. It looked brilliant
Thank
from the
you.
visuals on the outside. So if you just let the audience know how they follow you or find out more about you, what are your links?
So I'm property_Martin. You find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook as that. Or if you go on Facebook, I think it's Martin Patrick Harvey.
And then with me, it's _Sarah Harvey and the Property Power Couple.
Yep.
There you go, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. I know I really did. We covered so many topics from interior design to building, how to raise finance, and even off topics about, how to make babies if you have if you have issues, etc. But it's always good to find out all of them things. So don't forget to subscribe, leave us a comment, leave my guest today a comment, and if I'll make sure that they get it and make sure they can answer it for you, or I can help with that as well. And don't forget to share this with somebody else who really might need this. So until next time, peace.